You're one of the Max Danger here with another review. And this review is the Venom The Last Dance. And my thoughts of it and my review of it. It's going to be a short, quick and easy review here. It's not a long video, but I thought, why not review it? Because I saw it a few weeks back. And right off the bat, it is a very disappointing third one and final one too. The only thing that really does well with the film is obviously the Eddie and Venom buddy type of thing, like the friendship they have along the way until the end and whatnot. Because obviously it's the last Venom film, and I thought they would have done something more with this film than what they did with the other ones. Because the other ones, like, the only thing that I will say is the first one is better, but once they started doing the second one, it just got a bit daft and a bit over the top. But then the third one, and again, it's Sony trying their best with these films where they're trying to get these villains to have their own movie. And again, it's not working again. And with Venom 3, just obviously with it being the last one, you would think they would do a good send-off, you know, for in terms of the plot and the story around the film. No. Today, I am going to be reviewing, so in case you don't want to be spoiled, turn away, go and watch a different video, or go and watch one of my other videos, because this video is just going to be a review where I am going to be nitpicking a lot in this one compared to any other video I've done. To start off, the beginning I would only give props for, because the beginning was just like a simple, like, from the last time we saw Eddie and Venom, and the whole idea, because the one thing that I did notice, and I think everyone on the internet knows, they completely changed the thing for No Way Home to Venom 3, Venom as in The Last Dance. And what they've done this time around, instead of like that effect on Eddie, they do it in a Portal kind of Sony way, where they're trying to do their own version of the multiverse. And that one was a bit weird. I wish they would have kept that same effect or that same premise, because you would have thought they would have used that same scene for the opening and then we're into the film itself. But, like, yeah, there was that same moment and everything from No Way Home and everything, but they kind of changed a few things around it. Like, again, no acknowledgement saying Spider-Man or this and that. And it's Sony just unwilling to reference Spider-Man in their Sony films until they end up making, like, their own Spider-Man franchise. And, you know, and it's kind of stupid, in my opinion, too, with it. But yeah, we'll go from that to this mysterious, which is, again, plot hole, where there's a massive dark room scene, and they're trying to hunt down Eddie and Venom. And obviously they're trying to hunt them down to get Venom, obviously. And it's the only scene you see of this mysterious character, and it's never brought up in the film, because there's so many problems with this third one, where it's not like even a finale. Like, it's not even like what you think is supposed to be the last Venom film, but they open up so many things from this film which is very unnecessary. And I think that the way they've handled Venom 3 was just so poorly done. Like, the writing with some of the side characters was just not great. Like, they completely wasted the actor who played the Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man in this. Like, I'm sorry, but they, like... But again, I know it's, like, to drag the film. Like, keep it at a slow pace. But no, utter useless of a character. And, yeah, so they're hunting Eddie and Venom. So, obviously, they are on the run. Then, like, there is moments in the film where I will give them props for, is, like, the action sequences and the good fighting stuff in it. Because that's the only thing I'll always enjoy, which is watchable, is watching the action-packed stuff. And obviously when Venom comes out in his true form, that's when it's fun. This one, however, you do see a bit of Venom, but you don't see as much. And they kind of unutilise, like, how they would use them in this one compared to the other ones. Because in the other ones, you're seeing a bit more, but the issue with this one is you only see, like, his head, and then you see, like, different versions of Venom in different creatures, but you just don't see his true transformation as much in this third one. And I think that might leave people disappointed with seeing more Venom. And midway through the film, we get introduced to this side character. I can't remember the character name, but she gets introduced in the most basic story arc I've ever seen. Like, over, like, her brother getting lightning struck. Like, yeah, fair enough if you're trying to get new people to feel for this character, but it was just so... It felt random. And this is where, at the end of this review, I'm going to give my unfortunate opinion on what they might be doing here after this film. But yeah, they introduce this character. Her story is very basic and bland. And they keep mentioning it every now and then during the film. And then they bring back the guy from the second one who they try and get Eddie as convicted for, you know, unaliving, which he didn't in the second one. So the guy who got knocked out in the second one is still alive until he gets unalived in this one, which, again, they only use him for, like, filler. So, like, they're trying, because the film, with how they were handling certain characters, like this one in particular, was just so they can, because the second one looked like more like they were going to use him for, like, the next villain, before, like, they cut away to all the happy ending from the second one, where he says monsters, and it just didn't go in the way you think in this one. Like, they completely use them for a certain amount of screen time, and then near the, like, final act or something like that, and it was just awful. Like, the way they're trying, the way they're writing, and I think that there has to be something done in terms at Sony in terms of how they are producing these films. And again, I know I'm making a judgment on that, but I'm trying to have my thoughts. And again, this is something I'm trying to expand upon with me being a bit more open with my opinions and stuff. But there has to be a level of what will excite the audience and what drives the audience to enjoy your movie. Like, you don't want to have a boring character that people are not going to relate to, or you don't want to have a character that's just going to die unalive in the end without some real backstory properly to why. Because, like, the guy was locked in Area 51 for a long time, and they never explained why. Like, this is where, I mean, they go too over the top. Like, Area 51's, like, one of the main parts of the Sony universe and whatnot. And then the film goes in a whole other direction, bring these side characters, which I mentioned earlier, about that Lizard character, that Kurt Connors, everyone. Because this is why I thought when people making speculations on like Kurt Connors or if it was him in this one, no, it's just a hillbilly or whoever it was with a family who want to see aliens, but the son doesn't, something like that. And again, I think that was just to like slow the film down so that they can have some breathing time before the next big scene. But however, the next big scenes were more like in Las Vegas, which was kind of useless because the whole film was from point A to B. Because the real plot was Eddie and Venom to go to New York to see Lady Liberty. And I thought that was kind of a stupid thing for a story. Like, I get it for like a buddy adventure as your finale, but you got to have and understand how you could do that in terms of a story. And the way they did it is that they went to Las Vegas halfway through the film and they are gambling and everything. And then they go from gambling to the most awkward scene. And I will agree on a lot of people's minds when it comes to using certain music and films. But Mamma Mia with Venom just doesn't mix. Like, you get Miss Chen from Venom 1 and 2 back for this last one. They didn't bring back the other actress for the previous girlfriend he had. They did not bring her back, which I would have wanted them to explore more on. But again, she didn't came back for this one, so she is not in it. But this, however, comes to where the film just starts going like, what are we doing right now? Because this is just very unnecessary. Because the reason why Venom cannot go in true formation is because they've got the key to Null, which is apparently the next big villain for the Sonyverse or something that they're trying to hype up. And again, I'll get into that in the end. And the whole problem with the whole part of the film is when they are starting to have certain plot holes. Like, they use a bit of Venom symbiote and then that's never addressed. Like, they grab this part of the symbiote in the beginning and then they put it in the lab in Area 51 and that's never brought up until the post-credit, which is kind of useless. Because, like, Venom 1 and 2 were watchable and okay. Second one was just very goofy with Carnage. Like, Carnage was alright, but the first one would be, probably better one, in my opinion. This one is just, like, it was watchable, like the action and the Venom and Eddie dynamic just always gets better, but it just never, like, exceeds expectations with how to bring the story to a close with your final film of this trilogy. And it just doesn't deliver. And then we get into the final finale of the film, which is the massive battle in Area 51. And I thought that was a great thing, you know, all the symbiotes coming out, fighting alongside against these massive creatures, which has been chasing Eddie and Venom and everything. I thought it was all clever and well done. And again, people who are comic book fans of the symbiotes, they just get unalived anyways, so they are not going to be used for any other thing, except for one, which I'm not looking forward to. And this is where the side character out of the entire thing is the only one with a symbiote, which apparently is like another rip-off of The Flash, in my opinion. I'm sorry, but that is one thing I'm concerned about, because they use her for this final scene she's in, helping her friend get out of that Area 51 and everything, and then it goes back to Eddie and Venom. And again, she was just kind of useless. Like, what was the point of it all again? But again, in terms of story, it just didn't work with her. And then we'll get into probably where the film does well, and which is probably a reason why this is a thing on TikTok now. This around this time period is obviously that Venom sacrifices himself to save Eddie and everything, and it does kind of like, it doesn't pull your heartstrings, like it doesn't, but it does give you enough to make you feel for them. But the one thing you will have to admit is, like, it's 1 year of them two. So the entire period of Venom 1, 2, and 3 is through 1 year. And basically Venom has ruined Eddie's life the entire time. So again, it's the film, how they handle things. I felt like it should have had a better way of explaining it all in the beginning anyways, in my opinion. But however, we get into obviously the sad part where they play memories from Maroon 5, which everyone knows is probably a really good thing and a very tragic thing for Venom, or for Eddie, obviously, because they were best buds and all. And then it goes from that, and then the film ends. And this is where I need to give my thoughts on the post-credit scenes. The second one is more like a joke, but again, I think they're leaning into where they kind of ruined the Venom franchise again. Because we all know, like, Tom Hardy says he says he wants to have the opportunity to play Eddie again, and whatnot, but this is where I am worried about this idea of these post-credit scenes, because Null is basically, like, obviously a god of, like, symbiote or something. Like, this is one thing I'm worried about, is obviously with sources and, again, it's just speculation and predictions here, but I've got a feeling they're going to use Null in different movie projects for the next Sony films. Like, for, like, I'm guessing, like, Craven that's coming out, which has not been given any marketing whatsoever. There's not even a single ad I've seen so far for that film. So I'm guessing they're going to throw that under the bus or something with that film. And then I think they've got another one next year. I forgot which one, but they've got quite a few. But again, they are doing terrible in terms of trying to handle their films. But Noel is meant to be a big bad, right? And they want to use them for future projects and stuff. And this is where, going back to, like, villains getting their own movies, I've got a feeling they're going to go down that route again, but with Noel. Like, Noel's, like, a really bad villain, obviously, because he's, like, a god of the symbiote or something. And then the next thing you know, they might announce, like, a Noel film, and it's like, why announce it, but then make a movie about him to feel bad for something, for the past life they had or something. And again, I feel Sony just needs to stop with these films and just focus on Spider-Man content, because I think so far they're about to run out of their category of villains, in my opinion, because the only thing I can only see them doing now is probably villains from comic books now. Like, I'm sorry, but if they go down the way, if they end up doing, like, Shock something or whatever, like, the other Sony MCU villains that are still need to be announced, and they might end up doing those or something. And then, obviously, as I mentioned, that side character, this is where I am skeptical. It's the only symbiote that survives, right? And I've got a feeling they're going to do a Venom female film. Why is no one not even talking about this on the internet right now? Is because knowing Sony's track record, they might make a movie for that actress. And don't get me wrong, it might be watchable, it might be okay, but there is a level of how you should make the next movie when there's certain plot holes that need to be addressed. And I've got a feeling that plot hole is just going to be turned into a film where it's not a Venom, it's going to be called, I'm guessing, something else, and this is just my prediction, but I've got a feeling they're going to make a film on her and that symbiote. And I've got a feeling that's just going to be another flop. It's just going to be another failure. A bit like that Madam Web situation and this one. And Sony need to stop. And this is one thing which it does need talked about, is that side character, because it could be potentially, one of those next movies they may be in production of. But you just don't know. You don't know, really, because look at the plot holes throughout the film. I've ended up watching this, I think, twice or something. And the second time, I've realised the plot holes, which didn't get answered. So they're probably going to be addressed in different films or solo films, which will probably be not worth the story and probably not worth the time, which is ridiculous. And then the last thing, which again, if you just remember that symbiote at the beginning they grab, which is part of Venom, obviously that's cracked in the post-credit scene, and then you see that bartender from the beginning in the post-credit scene. And I know people may have a joke on that, I know people are not taking it serious, but this is why you need to look deeper into the film and realise that piece of symbiote of Venom survived. So he's not really gone. And it's why make him have that sacrifice knowing there's a piece of him still out there? And it kind of makes the movie worse, because what's the point of them having a sacrifice when there's still a part of them still around? Because it's stupid. It's you've done 3 films. I don't think anyone wants to see any more now because of how bad the box office is and how badly done this one and the second one did. And I'm sorry, but Venom was Venom is one of those characters which is meant to be a proper villain, right? A proper villain of Spider-Man. The Tobey Maguire one is just a proper good example, where it's just going after the mindset of Peter, and then Peter just becomes angry and enraged and is punching harder and being more aggressive. I would have thought they would have gone with that with Eddie, but instead they just kind of make him feel very weak. And I don't think Tom Hardy put any effort enough in this one, because he looked very down to earth in this one, in my opinion. But yeah, and again, that's just my opinions, and I hope people will see this video and / review, and hopefully go back, well, not go back, but probably watch it again and have an understanding of these plot holes, the side character, just because that is the thing which is worrying, is they may end up doing a solo film for that. And the unexplained piece of symbiote from the beginning, that is the reason why there was a second post-credit, because of that. And people are just not looking deep enough into the film, because with me, the way I review films now, and I think yous have noticed now, I've started being a bit more in-depth with certain parts now. And I'm getting a bit more open with my opinions on this channel now. And, And again, it's something to have a debate on, and you can have your opinions of me in the comments. But again, just please be respectful and understand where I'm coming from. But other than that, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next review or whatever. See you guys. Danger out.